Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan, busting you back upside the head with another hot banger boogie. Please go tell somebody to go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms at Love Urban. All right, so we're coming live from South Africa. You guys live on TikTok, live on YouTube. Please go somewhere, get situated so that you can know exactly what the HerbMan is teaching you guys today. We teach people here on the HerbMan Show how to heal themselves, and you cannot heal yourself unless you know thyself. So we teach you here about the human frame and the human design so that you guys can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. All right. So this is a free information station. You might as well get comfortable. You don't have to pay for anything that you hear here today. All you simply got to do is pay attention. And how we do that on the HerbMan Show is by double tapping that screen, you guys, and getting us up to 100,000 likes during the live broadcast. All right. And once we get to 1,000 likes, we'll get into the subject matter at hand. I hope everybody is doing a very, very good Sunday morning. I know y'all been waiting on me out there in social media land. So I appreciate all of the love, all of the support, all the concern, you guys. We're going to continue to keep showing you guys how simple it is to heal yourself, how simple it is to heal yourself. All you got to do is understand certain principles about healing yourself, and you will not only heal your body, you'll heal everything else in your life, whether it be your finances or your social status or whatever it is that you got going on that you want to make an agenda. You just got to learn how to manifest, understand opportunity. Anytime we're suffering, that is an opportunity for transformation of the condition that we're currently seeing ourselves in. So when you look at suffering with another eye. Don't look at it with the all woe is me eye. Look at it as the opportunity eye. And when you look at those particular moments as the opportunity eye, you will see that they always lend over the most information, the most lessons, the most blessings for your transformation. Okay? So you must understand that. Now, what we're going to get into today is all about understanding how to balance. So meet your ologist, right? Meet your ologist. You know, when we go on the news, and you know, I'm from the country. Now, when we go on the news, we always used to watch the meteorologist. The meteorologist, when I was coming up, it was the man on the news, okay? We ain't nobody else but the man telling the weather. The man told the weather back then where I come from. That was the man on the news. Because why? Grandmama, granddaddy, great grandmama, granddaddy don't always listen for the weatherman, okay? And so you have certain conditions in your life. You have certain weather patterns in your life. You have certain storms that are coming in your life. You have certain opportunities for dry weather and for fertility weather and for all these times and moments and seasons in your life, but you don't know what the weather is today in your life. You know what the weather is today in the earth, but you don't know what the weather is like in your life. You don't know what the weather is like in your internal environment. So today we're going to be teaching you guys about why that is very important to understand what we call in holistic medicine is the constitution, right? The weather pattern of your life. What is the weather pattern of your life? What is the weather trying to tell you to prepare for? See, you know about preparing for the day, but do you know about preparing for the life? You know about preparing for a rainy day, but do you know about preparing for a rainy season in your life? You know about preparing for a sunny day, but do you know how to prepare for a sunny season in your life? You know how to prepare for a cold day, but do you know how to prepare for a cold season in your life. And a lot of you guys are in these weather patterns and you don't know how to balance them out. And not only are there weather patterns in your external environment that you got to make sure you understand, but then there's also weather patterns in your internal environment that you must understand. And so once we get to the 1,000 likes, we'll get there and look like y'all ready to go. So therefore, I've always taught you guys. Now let's go ahead and get right into it, you guys. You keep tapping, I'll keep talking. I'm teaching you today. Y'all know how we do it on Sunday. All right. So you have already been taught that there's two things in you that you got to balance out: temperature and fluid. Okay. Temperature and fluid. Now, the temperature is pretty easy because you know that you got to keep your body around here, right? 98.6, 95.7, 98.6, 97.5. That's normally where we at, right? We at about 97.6 to 97.5. Okay. That's body temp. So that's a very quick way to understand these temperatures. Now, remember what I told you before: the sun and the water, okay? The sun and the water, okay? The sun and the water, right? The sun shines on the water, okay? The sun shines on the water. The water absorbs the sunlight, okay? The water absorbs the sunlight, all right? And when the water absorbs the sunlight, then it's going to create humidity or temperature. All right. So the absorption of the heat from the water creates temperature. The absorption of the heat from the waters create temperature. So heat, water creates temperature. Okay. The heat get absorbed from the water and creates our temperature. That's why they call it global warming and all this type of stuff. Why? Because of the sun's heat and the water absorbing it creates our incubation system within what you would call the environment of the earth. Okay. So that's creating our environment. No matter where you are on the planet, whatever the sun is doing, whatever the oceans are doing, is creating your climate, your weather pattern, is creating your environment. I'm going somewhere. Okay. So you must understand this. Now, here's the thing. We got temperature. Boom. So we got the heat factor. But over here, what's all over here? So you have about 7 different types of fluids. Okay. Now you have way more than that, right? You got way more than that, but we're just talking about the top fluids, right? So anybody understand anybody know some of these fluids? Anybody know some of these fluids? All right, go ahead and let us know in the chat if you know some of these fluids. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, Z Boutique says saliva, blood. Okay, so which one is it? Saliva or blood? Which one you choose, Z Boutique? The Duchess said water. All of these are considered the waters of the body. Okay, so what we're going to teach you about today is the 7 waters of the body, just like the 7 sisters, the 7, just like the Pleiades. Okay, understanding Pleiades, you'll understand why Pleiades is in Taurus, and you'll understand why the Egyptians was always big about the flood. Okay, the flood, right? The flood. When did the flood happen? Well, when does it normally rain? Well, May showers bring April flowers. Okay. Or April showers bring May flowers. That's what they say. April showers bring May flowers, right? So then normally when is May? Taurus is in May, right? So that's, you're getting a lot of rain in the month of Taurus. You're getting a lot of rain, okay? So that signifies the season of rain, where it should rain for your harvest. Pleiades. So therefore, the doggone tribe and all the people who understand the Sirius star and all of that was just talking about Pleiades and talking about when they knew when it was going to rain or flood for the harvest. That's all this is about. They knew when it was going to rain for the harvest. So what in essence, what I'm trying to teach you guys about is ancient ancestral understanding was about understanding weather patterns to know when to harvest, to know when to rest, to know when to plant, to know when to sow, to know when to give the earth a break. All of this was about understanding the climatic influence on the human experience. And what you are failing to realize, modern human and us as a biological whole, is the fact of how important that this is still playing a role and the influence on how we act every single day. So because you just know the weatherman on Channel 5 don't mean that you know the weatherman biologically within you. And so today with your owner's manual, we're trying to teach you about how to be not only knowledgeable of the weather outside of you, but also how to be knowledgeable about the weather patterns inside of you. And we can do all of this with a measly birthday. We don't need your blood type, your blood sample. And I'm going to tell you today why we don't need a blood sample, okay? So go tell all of your favorite herbalists, all of your favorite people that HerbMan is going to tell you why you don't need to take blood, okay? Today, I'm going to tell you why it's not a fancy thing to take your blood. I'm going to show you today why it's not a very fancy thing. You don't have to pay a whole lot of money for it. It's not what you think it is. Why? First of all, because it holds the shortest amount of information, which is only 24 hours. So if you don't eat that Whopper today, then I don't know that you got a bad diet. If you don't do what you was doing before you called the doctor and you came in and took the blood test clean, then the blood test is going to say nothing wrong with you, even though you know you're sick. So there's a fallibility there, but I'm going to show you scientifically why the blood is not everything that you think it is. And so why we need to look at other ways to understand the body. And holistic owner's manual with nature-based interventions is that way. If you guys are interested, DM me and we'll get you that information. So boom. Anybody know any other fluids? I still ain't seen no other fluid. Man, you saw some fluids up there? I didn't see no other fluids. Okay, Sherry Trees. Sherry Trees said blood. So let's put that down. That is another fluid. Okay, blood plasma. Okay. Anybody else got any other fluids? Lymph fluid, Duchess. There you go. Now we talking, Duchess. Now we talking. Okay. Now you got the lymph fluid. Anybody else? Sweat is not what we're talking about today, Rose. Billy Jr., mucus is not what we're talking about today. Fluids, your body fluids. See, this is why this is so important. This is why my show is probably one of the best shows that you can get to, because we're teaching you guys about how your body works. You can't beat it. Instead of me teaching you about how my herbs work. If you got allergies, you need my product for allergies. You need my product for immune. You need my product for the high blood pressure. No, you need to know yourself, and then you become your own product. I'm an educator. You pay me to teach you, not to sell you products. You pay me as a teacher. Saliva, spit, no. No, not one. Okay. Don't worry about it. If y'all don't get it, we'll still rock through it. But I thought I had some of my wizards up here. What's going on, Shelly? I thought I had some of my wizards up here. Okay, so 4. Okay, so we already told you guys about intracellular. What's going on, Monica? We already told you guys about intracellular, extracellular fluid, right? So then let's go ahead and put that down, right? So you got your intracellular fluids, right? 5. What else we got? You got your interstitial. You got the interstitial fluid. What else you got? You got your synovial fluid. A lot of y'all don't even know what the hell these fluids is. What else you got? I got cerebral spine. I got fluid. I got the blood plasma. I got the lymph. I got the intracellular. I got the interstitial. I got the synovial fluid. What else I got? I got my reproductive and amniotic fluids, right? So I got my reproductive fluids and my amniotic fluids. Yeah, we already got cerebral up there, crafty fat girl. That's number 1, right? So I got cerebral spinal fluid. I got my blood plasma. I got my lymph fluids. I got my intracellular fluids. I got my interstitial. So now, what is the difference? The cerebral spinal fluid is going to be fluid that is going to help out with the connectivity from the brain, right? So that's going to help out. That's a fluid that's going to help out with the connectivity of the brain. But you got to keep temperature and fluid balanced. And what's happening is our temperature is fluctuating with our daily workouts, habits, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's also fluctuating the fluids. And I ain't even done yet, because I'm going to show you how this is going to affect your blood at the end of the day, which is why blood tests ain't always the best thing. So then you got your cerebral spinal fluid, which is a connector of the brain, right? It's going to be the connector. These are your 7 bodies of water. Okay, this is what we call your 7 bodies of water. So the cerebral spinal fluid is what I like to call the waters of consciousness. Okay, is what I like to call the waters of consciousness. All right, and it is because this is the waters that surround the brain. Okay, again, it is a very, remember, water is a connector. Any water signs out there, all people that are water signs, from whether Cancer, whether Scorpio, whether Pisces, these people are very good at connecting people to different resources. They are networkers. They're kind of like the middleman for people. They stand in the middle, whether they be a great confidant, a great friend, whether they be a great spiritual advisor, a great friend, all these types of things. Water element people are able to do, but the cerebral spinal fluid represents that water of consciousness. Okay, the water of consciousness, again, it surrounds the brain, the spinal fluid, allowing for your electrochemical, okay, your electrochemical communication in the brain. Okay, so then next we got the rivers of life. Okay, next we got the rivers of life. All right, now the rivers of life is going to be the blood. Now everybody's familiar with the blood. When you go to church today, you're going to be reading about a man, and you're going to be talking about the blood. Okay, the blood is obviously going to be one of the most important fluids in the body, and also this is going to circulate vitality. It's going to give you the oxygen transport. It's going to give you the warmth and the passion. Blood is the inner sea that nourishes all that carry the spark of spirit throughout the body. Okay, that's what we look at the blood as, right? So this is the river of life. This is the water of consciousness. Okay, so then you got the lymph, right? So now the lymph ain't nothing to be played with. So the lymph is the cleansing waters. This is your disposal system of the blood, right? So these are what we call the cleansing waters. So now I got the waters of consciousness, the cerebral spinal fluid. I got the rivers of life, the blood, and now I'm dealing with the cleansing waters. Okay, and so this lymphatic fluid purifies the inner terrain, carrying waste and defending against toxins, which is why a lot of people deem this lymph fluid to be synonymous with your immune system. Okay, so my point to you is that let me describe these waters, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell you how to balance them and how to understand the weather. Because remember that fluid and temperature is producing weather. And so if you got concentrated, if you got diluted, any one of these, or if you got too high temperature, too low, you're going to be creating something in your body that is not natural to you. And this is where cancers come from. This is where mutations, genetic mutations, this is where all these different diseases are mutating, bacteria, all this stuff, and they can't keep up with it. It's because you are creating something new within you when you don't take control and balance of the temperatures and fluids. And if you don't want to stay no more, you can go right there. Okay? All right? You can go right there. Y'all can go right there if you don't want to stay no more. But if you do, let's continue on. All right? So then the next thing, okay, the next thing that we're talking about here is going to be your intracellular fluids, right? Remember that the intracellular fluids is going to be the inner sea, right? So this is the waters inside of your cells. Okay, the intracellular fluid is the water inside the cell. So this is the inner ocean, all right? This is the internal medium of each cell. This is where metabolic reactions and your DNA processes all occur inside the cell. So that means that there must be a particular temperature and fluid balance inside your cell just as well as outside. Now you see intracellular fluid right here, but there's also something called extracellular fluid. So ICL for intracellular, ECL for extracellular, and that's when we're going to get to denounce all this blood test stuff that y'all think you got to go do. Okay, so that's going to come up at the end. All right, so then your next one that a lot of people don't understand is the interstitial fluid. Okay, the interstitial fluid is the fluid in between the cells. So now I got fluid in the cell, I got fluid outside the cell. Well, you said, HerbMan, that fluid outside the cell was called extracellular fluid. Yes, extracellular fluid is broken down into two dynamics, okay? Extracellular fluid is broken down into two dynamics. One is the interstitial fluid, which is the fluid in between your cells, okay? And the other is going to be the fluid in the blood, the plasma in the blood. All of that is considered extracellular fluid. So blood plasma is considered extracellular fluid, and then also is going to be the interstitial. Interstitial and blood plasma are a part of the extracellular. So if you watching me and you like, wait, he didn't put extracellular, I did. I put blood plasma and I put interstitial, which both make up extracellular fluid. Okay, now let's keep it moving. So now you know about the interstitial. What else do we need to learn about? The next one is going to be the synovial. This is what a lot of y'all don't know nothing about, the synovial. And this is probably what a lot of earth element people need to know about. The synovial fluid is the lubricant of motion. Okay? The synovial fluid is the lubricant of motion. All right? So guess what? Y'all already know what this is, right? So you're looking for cartilage and you're looking for a collagen, but what about synovial fluid? All right. So synovial fluid again is the lubricant of motion. It keeps the joint supple and movement graceful. It keeps your joint supple and movement graceful. But who told you about synovial fluid during arthritis? Right? These are the waters. Okay, the balancing of the waters. Okay, and then last but not least, obviously we know about the reproductive, and also we know about the amniotic fluids. If you don't know about that, then the reproductive fluids are going to be obviously going to be your gonads, your semen, and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, these are the sacred source. All right, the reproductive and the amniotic waters are how we birth one another. These are your living waters. Okay, so this is what you call the living waters, the sacred source. And these waters of conception, both literal, dealing with semen and amniotic fluid, and symbolic, is creative life force. Okay, so this is your creative life force. Now here's the thing: how are you balancing these waters? What is the temperature in your life when you're dealing with these 7 waters? Okay, because again, it's about balancing the temperature with these waters, and these are creating weather patterns within my brain, weather patterns within my blood, weather patterns within my waste disposal system, weather patterns within my cell, weather patterns outside my cell, weather patterns within my bones, weather patterns within my reproductive system. What else do you need? Do you know your weather of your life? Okay, and so with that funky measly little $50 for your owner's manual, we're giving you all of this understanding. Now, the next question you should ask is, what is the weather, right? The next question you should ask is, what kind of weather does this produce? Okay, so thank you for asking. Okay, so now when we're dealing with temperature and fluids, then you got to understand that there are 2 barometers in which we understand temperature to be. Okay, and so one of them is going to be you either hot, the other one is going to be you either cold. Okay, these are conditions that my temperature can be in. It's either hot or it's either cold. Now remember, it has a very narrow window of fluctuation. So even if you think you hot at 97.5 degrees, the body can still register at cold. It's just like the blood. The blood is always alkaline. It'll never be acidic, but you can die while the blood being in alkaline. You could die if the blood get to be 7.1, you dead, but your blood was still alkaline. If the blood be 7.7, it was still alkaline, but you dead. It never got to acidity, but you still get a condition called death if it fluctuates too far, because there's a narrow window. So although you think at 97.5 you are right, that's still a feeding bed for a particular mutation within your body, because it's not the right temperature. All right, and it's creating conditions that are not conducive to healthy cells. All right, so with the fluids, you got 2 conditions: wet and dry. There it is. Okay, so when we're looking at the weather patterns, it's either going to be hot and wet or hot and dry. It's either going to be cold and wet or cold and dry. What weather are you in? And you can look at this from a lifestyle situation. You can look at this from an internal environment. We get all this information with your measly birthday. Now, why is it that this particular situation, you don't have to do no blood test, right? Because everybody thinking that whoever do blood tests knows what they're doing. But no, my friend. Okay, you don't need blood tests, because again, I just told you how this can understand the fluid. So we understand intracellular, extracellular. Now, so look at this like this now, right? So let's say you got a blood vessel here. I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw, okay? And then you got cells out here, right? Okay? So inside the cell, we already know is intracellular, okay? Outside the cell, we already know all of this is extracellular, but it's also interstitial, okay? The fluid in between the cells is called interstitial fluid, okay? All right? Now, understand this. You got stuff that needs to come in and out of the blood vessels, right? So you'll have these little gashes of things that be able to come in and out, right? Right? So you got these little things that be able to do it. So here is the thing, here is the key that you need to understand. Whatever environment your interstitial fluid is, whatever environment your extracellular fluid is, will transfer to it being also in the blood plasma. All right? Whatever the environment of the extracellular fluid, that's why we try to teach you guys about environment being the key. So again, when somebody is taking your blood test, then what are they giving you the numbers of? If somebody took your blood test, if they told you about the only thing that really doesn't fluctuate here is the red blood cells and the white blood cells. But as far as all your ions, as far as all your minerals, as far as your calcium, magnesium, chlorine, and all this stuff that you get going in there for, you got to understand this part of it, okay? When you go get a blood test, what they're showing you, or you could just understand this as just knowledge for you as an advocate, right? As you're being your own health advocate. Whenever they give you the blood test results, that is also the results of your interstitial fluid. So now you not only know what's in the blood, you also know what's outside the cell. Okay? Now, I'm going to also show you and teach you, and I'm also give you an awareness that also this is going to mimic what's inside the cell, right? Because remember that you got these little walls as well on the outside of the cell. Shit got to go in here and come out of here. Go in here and come out of here. So you got the blood vessel that's allowing things to come in from the extracellular fluid, and then you also got your phospholipid. Remember this fatty tissue that's also got to allow things in. Otherwise, you won't get nothing in or nothing out, right? So at the end of the day, the conditions that are in here, that are out here, will eventually reflect in here and ultimately in here at some point. Okay, so now understanding that, you should know exactly what you need to do. But guess what? If I know this without a microscope, do I need a microscope? No. I don't need no microscope. I need your birthday, and then I can tell you all of this stuff going on. Right? This is science. So what we're doing is healing you guys through spirit and science, right? So this can only go so far, but I'm just trying to get you to understand how we understand this dynamic. So again, the thing about what you need to understand is the concentration and how to control and balance the waters. So again, brothers told me I got temperature that I gotta control temp, right? 98.6, right? Now the fluids. Now let's look at this. Right, let's look at this right here, right? So you got fluids up here, and then you got fluids down here. All your fluids got all of these minerals in it. Okay? So let's say right here, you got the proper amount. You good. Right here, you bad. Now let me ask you a question, okay? Let me ask you guys a question. Please keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking. Please keep tapping. I'll keep talking, okay? Please keep tapping. I will keep on talking to you. Right? We're going to teach you guys today. Right? This is what this stuff all means. This is what this stuff is all about, man. Is more the more you start learning yourself, the more you'll know, okay? So now, here's the thing. I got fluids that are good, and I got the fluids that are bad. Okay. Now, if I got a whole bunch of minerals in the water, which one of these is more concentrated than the other one? Anybody know? If I got a bunch of stuff in my water, if I got let's say I put a bunch of sugar and a bunch of salt in here, so I just got sugar and salt water. Okay. When it get down this low, or if it get this high, which one has the more concentrated thing? Is it the good or is it the bad? I'm gonna wait on you. What's going on, April? Welcome, 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 YouTubers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shirley Ham, what's happening? You came to the right spot. Stop, stay, and learn. Okay. User 297 said the bad. Advil said the bad. All right. Rose said the bad. Exactly. Right. So now when you get dehydrated, or when you're not giving your body enough of the hydrating foods because you're not eating enough water. I always like to call them, hydrating foods is water that's very high in, foods that are very high in water, right? So your celeries and all these types of things that have all these juicy fruits and juicy vegetables that's giving, basically, if you're a juicer, you know what vegetables give you a lot of juice. That's the hydrating fruits and vegetables. But all you got to do is Google hydrating fruits and vegetables, okay? Hydrating fruits and vegetables, because you don't just need to try to do this with bottled water. Bottled water won't get this because it doesn't have the solution. So if you try to go in and go to bottled water, if you try to go in and raise this up with distilled water, if you try to go in and raise this up with purified water, yeah, you'll raise the water level, but you're diluted. And when you dilute it too much, then that's a problem. So too concentrated is a problem, but too diluted is a problem. Some of you guys are drinking too much water and doing too much fruits and vegetables, and you're diluting this situation, making it an even bigger problem. And some of you guys are not drinking enough water and not eating enough fruits and vegetables, and therefore you're depleting it and causing the concentration. Now, just like I told y'all before, when you cause this concentration, remember I told y'all about the third eye. Your third eye is your pituitary gland. It's not your crown chakra. Okay, I know we talk about the pineal all the time, but we don't talk enough about the hypothalamus and the pituitary. So the pituitary gland comes in and kick in to handle this problem. Now, what handles this is the thing about your kidneys. Your kidneys is going to produce what I told y'all, aldosterone. Aldosterone is going to water retain. Why do I want to retain water? Because you're low. You're low on water. You're dehydrated. You're too concentrated. So we're saying hold all the water. Don't let no water go out. Only let water come in. Aldosterone coming from your kidneys, your adrenals, producing aldosterone. Remember I told you that this shit is one of the key things of why people are losing their eyesight due to pituitary gland tumors. Why is that? Because the pituitary gland handles this discrepancy. When you have an imbalance in your waters, the hypothalamus tells the pituitary to do its thing. Again, when you have an issue with the water imbalance, remember temperature and fluid. Who handles temperature? The hypothalamus. The hypothalamus handles your thermoregulation. So temperature got to get in there. So that's the hypothalamus. And then the water balance. Well, what is the water balance? Your pH balance. What is the pH balance? Who handles that? Your kidneys, your adrenals. But who tell the kidneys what to do? The pituitary gland. So now the pituitary gland is also the one I've been teaching you guys about, that is the culprit for your cancers, your breast cancers, your prostate cancer, your uterine cancer, your fibroids, your endometriosis, your PCOS. All of these reproductive cancers are coming from a water imbalance. And we know what area it is in the reproductive and amniotic fluid side, but it's still coming from the pituitary gland, trying to make sure that the environment is conducive to creating a baby. But when the environment ain't conducive to creating a baby, you get a miscarriage. When it ain't conducive of creating what it needs to create, you get a cancer, you get a mutation. So therefore, your pituitary gland is over growth and development. So it's still going to grow and it's still going to develop something. And if it ain't a real healthy baby, it'll be a real healthy cancer. Which one you want? So you must understand that your body is going through these things to give you the things that you need. And it is up to you to understand what it takes coming into the body. Remember that the Bible said it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but it's what comes out of a man that defiles him. So it is all about your interpretation and then your response to the environmental stimuli. So the interpretation ain't the environmental stimuli ain't never been bad. Or they pulled a gun, a lion came, a dog came. That ain't never been bad because that's natural selection. That's nature laws. But it's what you do, how do you respond from it? That's going to be the thing that saves you as a man. It's how you respond. If a lion come chasing you, did you run or did you fight? If you fuck around and make the wrong mistake and try to fight the lion, you die. If you run, you might survive. What response did you give for that type of environmental stimuli? Okay? Keep tapping. I'm going to keep talking to you guys. So now you're understanding that this dehydration now is going to be a problem because it's causing the concentration. When you cause this concentrated solution within your bloodstream, within your plasma, your cerebral spinal fluid, your interstitial fluid, your intracellular fluid, when you cause all of this concentrated thing in here, now you understanding why the body get blocks up, why it get locks up, why it do certain things is because you're creating an environment that's not conducive to healthy cells. So even people out there dealing with sickle cell anemia, right? Sickle cell anemia is the thing that you can clean up. Look, your blood cells reproduce every 4 months. Everybody know that 120 days you get new red blood cells. So then why in the hell are you still living with sickle cell anemia? Why? Because you are producing sickle cell anemia cells way more than you're producing healthier blood cells. So as long as you keep them outnumbered, I don't give a damn if you got 50% to 49. You still win the war. Sickle cell will still win the war as long as you got 50% more sickle cell anemia cells than healthy cells. You still got sickle cell anemia. You got to produce healthy cells. Okay. Now I told you that if you're looking at sickle cell anemia, so if it's in the blood, it's in the interstitial fluid. If it's in the interstitial fluid, then that's in your intracellular fluid. If it's in your intracellular fluid, then it done got down to your cells. So your cells are having to resonate with what they're swimming in. So the environment influences the cell. So it is your environment and how you balance your environment internally, your life, externally within your body that's going to create the weather pattern for you to have a nice day. And some of you guys are so stormy on the inside. Some of you guys are so imbalanced on the inside that it is creating foreign agents. It's creating bacteria. It's creating cellular disruption. It's creating all these different aspects that are creating diseases that modern medicine, modern technology can't keep up with, but ancient technology can. Any question thus far? You keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking if you guys got questions. Any questions thus far? So now somebody said, well, then how do I know my weather pattern? Okay, so when you give me your birthday, okay, or when you get your owner's manual, this is what we do. We get your birthday down pat, and then it'll allow us to understand what is the weather pattern. So let's say if you were a person born on 3/5/75, okay? All right, let's get your model number. 3 and 5 is 8. 1975 would be 17 plus 5, which would be 22. So that's 4. 8 and 4 is 12. So your model number would be a 3. All right. 221 to 321 is going to make you a what? Pisces. Right? So that's going to be a water sign. Every Pisces alter ego is going to be a Virgo. So that's your earth sign. Okay. And then the model number 3 gives us the fire element. So you are a water, earth, fire person. Okay. So now what this means to me is that the water and the earth balances each other out. So the only outstanding thing is this extra fire, here, which is what we will call yang excessive. Okay. All right. You would be yang excessive. All right, yang excessive also will allow me to understand that I know the body, I know the side of the body now. Okay, so for yang excessive, this is going to be your lower right side of your body. Okay, now we always work in polarity. So if you got yang excessiveness, do you have yin deficiency? Not necessarily, because we see the balance right here, right? But we do know that yang excessive is the lower right. Okay. Now with yang excessive, that means that you're allowing a lot of wind and heat in the body, right? So if you're allowing a lot of wind and heat in the body, then we also know that this is conducive of the fire element. Okay. Now, this being conducive of the fire element, we also now understand the weather pattern. So the weather pattern of fire is going to be hot and dry. Okay. So now because you're hot and dry, I understand you need cold and wet. You need cold and wet foods, you need cold and wet herbs and all that type of stuff. But then bigger than that is what season of life you in. So now you can start to build up. It's just like trading, right? You start off at the minute, the 5 minute, then start off at the hour, the 4 hour, then you get to the yearly, and then you're able to start to be able to match all your charts up with the actual trend. At first, you may not be able to. You're just trying to get in and get out. We know that if the overall trend is bull, then therefore every time I do bull on my 1 minute chart, then I got a big jump. But when I go against the trend, I got to watch the computer because I'm going against the ultimate trend. Learn how to trade, you'll learn how to do this. Okay, so now we understand that the biggest trend is the weather pattern of my life. Now, I don't know what this person is at, but let's see. Okay, so now 3,575. Again, you got 221 to 321. Let's say that this person did 16 days in there. So 10 days. Okay, it's 3 years. Then another 6 is going to give me 5. So they did 5 years in Pisces. Okay, right? So they did 5 years in Pisces. 1975, that means that they are currently 50 years old. And how many months? They're 50 years old and 7 months. Okay, so 50.7, right? Now, let's see where this person is at. So you did 3 years. Did we do that? 3 years, 4 or 5 years. So you did 5 years of Pisces. So 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. So 45, this person is 5.7 years in Leo. Okay, 5.7 years in Leo. Leo represents what? The summer. Summer represents the fire. Fire represents the hot and dry. So this person is in a hot and dry climate of life. This person is in the summertime of life. They're currently in Leo. They're in the second deacon, so we know that they got to watch out for what? They got to watch out for overheating. Now, watch this. These are equations. So the water would have been cold and wet. The earth would have been cold and dry. And the fire would have been hot and dry. Now, this is how I do the equation so you guys can understand. You can cancel out what balances, okay? If you got 2 or something, it's easy to know that's where the problem is at. Anytime you see 2 or something, that's where your problem is going to be, okay? But look at this. So with this wet and dry cancels each other out. This cold and hot cancels each other out. All you got left is cold and dry. This person probably, this is the tendency. Based on the birthday, this is the tendency. This is probably what the person's going to be dealing with based on what's going on. Okay? So, or vice versa. Based on the birthday, this is the tendency. And based on the situation, they might be dealing with this, right? So we got to balance you up. So now you know, okay, I'm a cold and dry person on the inside. I'm a earth. So this is earth. This equals earth. Okay, so you're a water, earth, fire, but you're really carrying the majority of the earth element internally. So now you know your weather pattern. So now you can't get too cold and wet. You can't get too hot and wet, and you can't get too hot and dry. So if I'm in a hot and dry time of my life, and I know that I'm cold and dry. So over here it's hot and dry, and I'm cold and dry. What I got to watch out for? The problem, the too dry. I got to watch out for getting too dry at this particular time in my life. What's your weather pattern? Do you know what weather pattern you're in? Meteorologist. Instead of calling me a meteorologist, okay? Meteorologist. A ologist is the person that studies anything. And we studying your goddamn self today. All right, so get your owner's manual, you guys. So now I understand based on the, again, polarity is the recipe. So I got the tendency based on the birthday. Because this is the tendency, don't mean that this is the thing that you actually dealing with. You could be dealing with something else. Yeah, you might say I got that tendency, but I could be dealing with a summer problem, a winter problem, or I could be dealing with any kind of issue. So I need that to also be understood. So yeah, fine, we can do that. But what I'm saying is from the yang excessiveness, you see how we got hot and dry from this, right? But then we got cold and dry from this. So then you got to understand how to get the ultimate answer for the person. Okay? How to get the ultimate answer for the person. So I just made up a little problem for them to have so you can kind of see how it breaks down or how we would break it down. But that's how you come up with the weather pattern for within. And then that's also how you add this to your owner's manual. Okay? Remember that these owner's manuals are going to stay being updated, you guys. They're going to stay being updated with a bevy of information. It will behoove you to be a member. Okay? A member is $3.99 a month. For $4 for your funky measly $4, you become a member and you can get this updated information. As I update, you stay up to date with everything, and you always have the right information in the palm of your hand. This is for a funky measly $50. We don't need no blood type, no blood test, no hair test, no hair sample, no stool sample, urine sample, nothing but a blood, a birthday. That's all we need. Okay, so now with those waters are also going to be these minerals that we talked to you guys about before. Plus, we also got all of the minerals from the cell salts as well, right? So you know that outside the cell, okay, you know outside the cell, you got your sodium, you got your calcium, you got your bicarbonate. What else you got? You got your chlorine, right? Then you got inside the cell, right? Inside the cell, we know you got your phosphorus that I always told y'all about. You got your potassium, all right? You got your magnesium, okay? And what else you got in there? Um, uh, your potassium, your phosphorus, your magnesium, your iron, okay? All that's on the inside, right? So again, remember what I just taught you guys about this thing called the interstitial fluid and the extracellular fluid. Remember that what's in the blood is in the interstitial fluid. And then ultimately what's in the interstitial fluid would be what's in intracellular. Okay. So when you understand how environment is influencing your cell, then all you got to do is change the environment. Your cells will change. So you don't necessarily have to be behind people that trying to make you believe that they know shit about the cell. I'm teaching you yourself. Damn, HerbMan just told me that when I take a blood test, whatever that blood test is saying, that's saying for the outside of my cell and then ultimately for the inside. So if I just change the outside of my cell, I change what's in my blood and what's in the cell. If I just change the environment, I change what's in my blood and what's in my cell. I don't know how better to speak to you guys so that I could be your health provider. Okay, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to prove to you anything outside of you understanding that this is a gift. I got the gift, and it is what it is. But that don't mean that everybody needs to come to me. It's just about understanding this holistic thing. This holistic thing ain't just about you growing your own fruits and vegetables. Yes, that's a great aspect of it, but that ain't it. It ain't about you just taking folks' herbs and keep buying people herbs. That ain't just it, because all of those things, food, water, and the herbs are all supplemental. Supplemental is an addition to something. So that means that you must understand how to balance yourself without food, water, and herbs, because they're supplemental. That means that there is a way for you to balance yourself without additions. Okay. And we need to learn what that way is. Okay. And that way is, again, understanding your emotional state and how to understand your responses to environmental stimuli. I'm growing at this every day myself as I yet teach, I yet share about how to respond to environmental stimuli. He stepped on your toe. Okay, you normally knock somebody's ass out, but are you going to do that today? It's You got the same stump toe. You got the same egregiousness. You got the same attitude, the same temper, the same cuss word, the same abuse, the same this. But how are you going to respond? Okay, how are you going to respond to it? So now, understanding this, if you understand this, now you understand how it goes. So okay, if I got concentrations outside the cell, if this is concentrated outside, and let me see if you guys understand this. Okay, so if these are concentrated, I probably should have left this out first. Let me do this. Okay, and remember that all of these are interchangeable, you guys. This is just what's mostly inside, this is what's mostly outside, but there's a few of everything everywhere. Okay, but now if this is concentrated outside the cell, my question is this, are these things concentrated in the blood? You don't have to be up on a microscope to do this. Okay, with the Honest Man, is it where we just learn our own life power function, or is it to study? Oh no, you just learn yourself. It's your Honest Man. Not, yeah, we're not giving you a book for you to go out and teach people. Okay, you got to heal yourself before you try to teach somebody else something. So your owner's manual is for you based on your birthday. Okay, all right. So now, if this is concentrated outside the cell, right? Is this concentrated inside the blood? Okay, and Manny 78 beat y'all to it, or Manny beat y'all to it and just said yes, that is correct. All right, that is correct. Now I'm finna get, this is a trick question. This is a trick question, so you got to understand it. Okay, this is how I know if you guys are on to this or not. Okay, if this is concentrated on the inside of the cell, if potassium, phosphorus, magnesium, and iron, if this is concentrated inside the cell, is this concentrated in the blood? Anybody know? Okay. Outside the cell, Manny said yes. If this is concentrated inside the cell, is these things also concentrated in the blood? Ash Baby said yes. DC Dirty said yes. Now you guys are learning your body. Give yourself a round of applause. Keep tapping and I'll keep talking, okay? You guys keep tapping and I'll keep talking. Now you guys are learning. This is what a herbalist should be doing. Not trying to tell you about ashwagandha. Not trying to tell you about ginger. Not trying to tell you about a devil's claw. Not trying to tell you about black cohosh. Not trying to teach you about blue cohosh. Not trying to teach you about a dream root. Not trying to show you about a butterfly pea. They should be teaching you about your body. And the reason why they're getting over on you is because they don't know nothing about this and you think they know about herbs. No, a physician should not know about medications more than they should know about their patients. The best physician is a person that knows about their clients. That means that they know the person, biology, cosmology, and life. Not about the herbs. You can be the smartest motherfucker in the woods, but if you don't know the body, you'll still miss every time. All right. So now I'm glad that y'all get that now. Okay. So now I'm glad that y'all understand how to balance these waters out. Okay. How to balance these waters out. Okay. Any questions thus far? Before I go any further, do we got questions? So when purchasing the owner's manual, is it just specific for our own life pal, or is it holds information to learn all life pals? No, Nikki, it's just all about you. You know, I don't give you anything for nobody else. I'm not teaching that type of course or teaching that type of, I'm not teaching that type of thing, period. Okay? You need to heal yourself. You can't teach nobody shit until you heal yourself. And then when you teach them, you'll be teaching them about how fundamental imperative it is for them to know they self. So that means that you're not teaching nobody else's shit either. You're just teaching them, hey man, go know yourself and you'll heal yourself. And once we start spreading that, that's what I want to spread. To know yourself is better than to purchase my products. To know yourself is better than to purchase HerbMan's products, you got. Okay? I want us to start spreading, and when you know you nigga, this shit work. I healed myself because brother showed me how to know myself. He gave me all the information on myself. And then boom, that's all you getting is the information on yourself. Then you take yourself back into your medicine closet, your hospital, and you start working on yourself, recovering, rejuvenating, and you start getting the things that you want to get out of life. Okay. So remember now. So now we understand the seasons. So we know that spring, winter, summer, and fall. Okay. These all mean something if you didn't know. Okay, they all mean something if you didn't know. So spring would be your self-development phase. Okay? Your self-development phase. Okay? Summer would be your passion and skillful phase. Okay? Passion and skillful phase. All right? Fall would be your responsibility phase. Winter would be more of your, how I want to call this, purposeful phase, right? Purposeful phase. So you'll see that when you're looking at what you're really trying to do here, right? What you're really looking at, what you're really trying to do here, right? You're trying to measure out stability, okay? Stability, which will be here. So I'm going to say stability meets what y'all want to say. Stability meets what? What y'all want to call it? Stability meets what? So this is the earth and the air, because those are your oppositions, those are your polarities. All right. So we'll say stability meets movement, right? Somebody said wisdom and reflection, but I'm gonna say stability meets movement because you need both of them together. Okay. And then you got winter and summer. So this is where your passion meets what? Peace, right? That peace can come in that winter. So then this is where passion meets peace. Stability meets movement, and passion meets peace. Okay. But a lot of you guys don't have the opposition in your life. So a lot of you guys are both fire signs. If you're both fire signs, then you both got a lot of passion, but where the peace? A lot of you guys are both air signs. Fine. So you got a lot of movement, but where's the stability? Both of you guys are both whatever signs. So we're not getting any opposition. We're not getting any charge. We're not getting any change within our particular paradigm so that we can grow better. So these things help us grow, because at the end of the day, when you're in this springtime of life, the biggest thing that you need, so this is self-development. Yeah, you got a lot of ideals, you got a lot of passion, you got a lot of self-identity things that you're changing about yourself, and a lot of things that you're growing and developing. But here's the thing. What's the biggest thing about a seed? If I got a seed, yes, this is the time I like, oh, he told me I need to be planting seeds. Yes, you're at the time you need to be planting seeds. So then what is the biggest thing that you need to worry about? The ground. If you're in the air season of life, if you're under this weather pattern of spring, then you already got the ideas. So don't worry about ideas. They're going to come because you're in that season. Your main focus is your grounding. How do you plant those seeds in fertile ground? So when you're in spring season, instead of looking at the ideals of creativity or air, more or less look at the opposition and look at the ground in which these ideals are embedded in. Whew, man, I can't teach this shit no better than this. Okay. So this polarity is going to help you in every regards of the situation. Respect the environment. There you go. So it's all about that. So if he tell me I'm in my spring season of life and I know that I'm in my sowing seed season, then the most critical thing to my seeds growing is the grounding in which, so now if I'm in Aries and I'm self-developing, it's all about the grounding. It's all about the ground in which I'm self-developing. What am I doing, right? I got to make sure that I'm coming up with something concrete. My self-identity has to be grounded. Okay, next, my possessions in Taurus. Okay, I'm adding things to my life, materialistic wise, but I got to be grounded. Otherwise, this I just got ideas about money, got ideas about this, but nothing really grounded to create the fertility that's necessary. So you'll go through all the spring with a whole bunch of ideas, but with no fertile soil because you didn't focus on that, because nobody showed you how to focus on the polarity that makes the vision come true, that makes the ideas come true. You go into every season with the polarity. You go into everything with the polarity. If you yang today, I'll be yin today. If you yin today, I'll be yang today. If you hot and cold today, I'll be cold and dry. I'll be if you hot and wet today, I'll be cold and dry. If you cold and wet today, I'll be hot and dry. I am going to give you the absolute opposition in which you need in order to grow us in every paradigm that we need to grow in, including your health, your wealth. But you don't know how to grow seeds because ain't nobody ever told you about how to understand seasons. And you ought to know that you can't just go out there right now thinking you're going to grow some watermelon when we finna go into the winter season. You must understand that watermelon need to be planted in the winter so it can be ready for the summer. It can't be planted in the summer for it to be ready in the winter. You got to know that. Okay? You got to know that. You got to know that you can plant your collard greens in the spring and summer so that they can be ready for the winter. Or you can plant them in the fall. You ain't got to plant them that far out because it don't take that long. But you plant them that rather long in the end of fall, winter time, they're going to be ready in the winter. Right? But you can't plant them in the winter and think you're going to get some collard greens. Okay? So that's polarity that comes in. And people don't understand that a watermelon is giving you hot and wet. A watermelon is cold and wet, right? The weather pattern of a watermelon is cold and wet. Watermelon is cold and wet weather pattern, but it grows in hot and dry. A cactus is cold and wet, but it grows in hot and dry. Therefore, this plant is providing polarity to the environment. And that's what you got to do. The biggest key to health is balance, and you get that with your owner's manual. If you guys are interested in your owner's manual, please DM us. We'll get you the information that you need. We're teaching you how to bring your body back into balance, not only within, but also without. We're giving you nature-based interventions. We're giving you remedies. We're giving you things to do that's going to accumulate your relationship with nature outside of the home, as well as things that you need to do as far as herbs and foods for the internal environment within your body. You get all of this for a funky ass measly $50. Okay, I know I keep saying that, but we really should be charging more for the amount of information you get, and for you guys to understand that that's your balancing act. Nobody else will get that same thing unless they're your twin, born in the same day, same month, same moment. Okay, Shaybo, if you're interested, DM us and we'll get you that information. Okay, so now what we're trying to do is we're trying to understand my weather. Do you know your weather pattern? Do you know your weather pattern? Okay, we can get this to you with your birthday. Excellent info indeed. Thank you, Apple Williams. Okay, do you know your weather patterns? Okay, and so now with this mixture of temperature and fluid, okay, with this mixture of temp and fluid, any deficiency, any excessiveness will cause or can cause mutations. And that's on the planet, and that's within you. If this weather keep changing and keep doing stuff crazy, you'll create new living organisms, mutations. Okay? So any deficiency or excessiveness in temperature and fluid balance will cause mutations within your body, aka tumor, cancer, aka ulcers, aka lumps and bumps and boils, all that other stuff is because simply something's going on with you and your fluids. And we know what fluids, and we know exactly what's going on from a birthday with your honest man. Okay. Now, when you're dealing with deficiency, it's different from dealing with it from excessiveness. Okay. Now, 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with a deficiency in a particular thing, you need that. Okay. You need this. Okay. If it's a deficiency, you need this. Okay. You need this. If it's an excessiveness, you need the balance. Everybody understand that? Does everybody understand what I just said though? But nobody is able to show you if you're deficient or excessive. We can do this based on this. Remember, we just showed them that you're yin deficient. So we know, you're yang deficient. So we know that if you're yang deficient, you need more of something. You need more fire because you're deficient there. So you need more laughter. Okay? You need more laughter. You need more exercise. You need more hot and dry foods. You need more peppers, and you need more red foods and beets and all these different things. We know about you based on a birthday now, what you need. We know the deficiency. You need this. We already know what you need. It's easy. It's a great assessment. And if you're looking for a holistic, and if you're looking for traditional medicine assessments, you can't get better on the planet than someone that knows how to combine cosmology with biology and learn how to help you heal yourself through spirit and science. You can't get no better than that. Any other questions? Okay. Any other questions? So if you got excessiveness in a thing, you need the balance. If you got deficiency in the thing, you need that thing you're deficient in. Very simple. All I'm showing you is that we got all of the tools at our disposal to do this ourselves. Okay. We got all of the tools at our disposal to do this ourselves. And this don't require you to have to believe in it for it to work. It just works. Okay. It just works because it's ancient, it's ancestral, and it's what our people gave us. And it's what we should share for future generations to come. This can rival any machine on the planet. Okay. And I got all the machines. So I got the iridology machine. I got the bioresonance machine. I got all of the machines, and they still ain't better than this. Okay. So you can't go out there and start talking about he don't like he. I bought all this. I bought thousands of dollars of machines, and they still not better than it. I bought thousands of dollars of machines. Still got it. And they're still not better than this. So until you spend your money on the machine, don't tell me nothing about no spending no money. I did all of that, and it's still not better than this. All right. So now, understanding those things that we just showed you about the intracellular, the extracellular, I showed you about the blood, right? So the blood is giving you a great indication of the environment outside of the red blood cells and the white blood cells. Remember that, right? So the blood test gives you a very good understanding of the environment, which is a good thing. But you must understand the environment anyway. So we can get the environment without looking at your blood, because we have a old ancient relic like this that can allow us to understand it's coming from that standpoint of environment. Remember that this is cosmology mixed with biology, which makes me your meteorologist. Okay. Meteorologist. I'm the study of meeting you, the real you. So cosmology mixed with biology, meaning that we're already taking into effect environment outside, the external environment of this body. Okay, we're already taking this to effect. We're taking into effect the external environment, which is cosmology, and its influence on the life of this individual, and the internal environment, which is the biology. Okay, this ain't no different than your HVAC system outside your house. I'm HVAC certified. I'm talking about all the way. I'm big boy HVAC certified. Okay. When you big boy, everybody know about big boy. You got your license. Okay. So HVAC certified, this is the stuff that we take into account. We go out there, we put them little things on your HVAC, and then we take into account ambient temperature. Ambient temperature is nothing more than the external environment, outside air. So we have to compute the ambient temperature and the temperature on your thermostat in your house, your internal temperature. And what we've concluded is that the hotter it gets outside, the hotter the ambient temperature gets, the harder it is for your thermometer to stay like this, because you got them HVAC is working in both, is working in these conditions. So if it's hot as hell outside, okay, if it's 200 degrees outside and your thermostat is on 65 degrees, shit me, you about to blow your goddamn HVAC up. There's no way that your HVAC can keep your house 65 degrees in 200-degree weather, because it'll overheat. That's ambient temperature. So now bring this back down to your ass. There's no way that you can keep eating pork and beef on barbecue when it's already 90 degrees outside. You are already 98.5 degrees or 98.6, supposedly, right? You come outside 98.6, you already hot on the inside. Then you finna eat meat, and all this meat is going to take your internal temperature up, because meat requires high energy to break it down. So when high energy goes up, when the energy goes up, when energy goes up, heat goes up. There's no way around this. So proteins require high energy to break them down, which means that they require high temperatures in the body during that breakdown process. So now it is 95 degrees outside, your body 98.6 degrees, you barbecuing meat, and you drinking alcohol, which you think cooling you down, but is actually heating you up as well. And then now on top of that, now you outside and you think you talking about sweating while you over the grill. You talking about it hot out there, but bro, you getting too hot. You about to fall out. You ever heard a motherfucker be out there? I'm about to fall out, man. Hold on, let me take a seat. Bro, you drinking. You got the towel on, shorts on, big ass t-shirt on. Yeah, if you're gonna do this in the summer, you need to be bucket. You gotta be bucket out here, but you can't be out, but you dripping buckets. Because you don't know the weather. You didn't dress for the occasion internally nor externally. Did you understand what you're taking your body through when they're talking about a weather pattern? So what's happening is you're stirring up these waters and you're creating high temperatures. And 9 times out of 10, when you create a high temperature, guess what you do? I'm going to show y'all this very quick. When it gets very hot in the body, okay, you remember you only got temperature and fluids, okay? Meteorologist, okay? I am your meteorologist. You can come on every day and get your weather patterns from your homie HerbMan. Please, guys, keep tapping. I'll keep talking. Let's get us up to 100K. Please keep tapping. I'll keep talking, okay? So now look at this, you guys. Very, very good information. I hope you guys can take away from this, all right? So now, what I was about to say. So we already taught you guys about when energy goes up, the temperature goes up, right? I already got that understood, okay? So now what you got to understand is about how to balance these things out and kind of keep it going. Now, again, when you don't know this information, then guess what? You're always excessive or deficient, which means that you're always in mutation mode. When you don't know this information, when you don't got your owner's manual and you keep going without your owner's manual and you keep thinking that just because it's $50 that it ain't worth it, when it's probably, look, your mama cooking is the best food you ever had, but it's a free meal. So everything that's good to you don't have a cost the most. Everything that's good for you, nobody has the price gouge you people. Right? And then plus, I'm working off an old slogan. I ain't looking for $1 billion. We're looking for 1 billion served. Okay? So it's all about servicing other people. Now, again, so you don't know your weather pattern. So now you're out here and you're dealing with these conditions without anybody understanding the science of you in order for you to be able to get the foods and the herbs that you need. And I'm saying you get all of this with a birthday, you guys. Okay? That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. You get all of this stuff with a birthday. Now, who in the hell is doing this for a birthday? I need to know. I would have been paid them. I had to learn this myself in order to heal myself. So that's the only reason I know this, because I was in the same situation. Okay, dealing with ulcerative colitis and things of that nature. I had my own issues, and I was able to heal myself and live an ordinary life without bleeding no more in the stool and without all this feeling like you got to go shit every 5 minutes. Yeah, I've been through all of that, man. But guess what? I healed myself, you guys, without taking none of their medications. Without taking none of their medications. And I don't have the symptoms no more. Now, do I keep a good eye on my health since then? Hell yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't have those things no more, and I ain't on nobody's medication. I eat whatever the fuck I want to. I do the hell I want to if I want to. But I'm going to stay in a healthy consciousness. But my point is that you can heal yourself. You can do this. I wouldn't be on here. I ain't doing this to tell y'all something that I ain't did to help me. I told you, I'm not only the president of this information. I'm the client of it. This can take you very far when you're understanding the ultimate weather patterns for your life. So again, the ultimate weather patterns, you got to look at it like this, right? So you got seasons, right? You got seasons, which is going to be your overall trend, right? And that's what you're going to get when you give me your birthday. We'll understand what season you in to give the overall trend, okay? Then you have, when you're looking at your season, then you got the month, right? You got the month that you're actually in that's also going to give us a trend. Okay, the month, because, or the zodiac. Let's put it like that. I'm going to put zodiac or the month. Don't give us something. So let's say I'm in spring again, right? So spring is hot and wet. I got that weather pattern. Then I'm in spring and I'm in Gemini. Okay, I'm in Gemini. So Gemini is still an air sign. The air sign is what? Air is hot and wet. Okay, y'all see how this go now. Now I got the season, I got the month, and then I can look at the day if I wanted to, right? I can look at the day, and then you can look at the day and say, okay, the day is going to be a hot and dry day. It's October, so maybe it was cool and dry today. Okay, October, it was cool and dry. All right, so I got cool and dry. Okay, all right, so then that's a trend. So that's all of the environment outside of them. This is all outside. This is the environment. Okay, so these two, remember that they're going to cancel each other out. A wet and a dry cancel each other out. Okay, a cold and a hot cancels each other out. So what do I have left? The hot and the wet. So the outside is trending hot and wet. Now, who am I? What is the temperature within me? Okay, well, the owner's manual just told me from what I'm dealing with, I'm out here walking around cold and dry. Is that the balance for that day? Yes. But that's also the balance for your issue. Every day that there's a hot and wet day, you'll probably feel better as a cold and dry issue that you got going on. Every time it's hot and wet, you'll feel better. Every time you eat hot and wet foods, you'll feel better. Every time you do hot and wet things, you will feel better dealing with a cold and dry condition. Do you know the weather of your life? Let us teach you how. If you guys are interested in the owner's manual, please DM us and we'll get you the information that you need. My birthday is 2/1/73. Will you do my birthday? Keto Camille, I done you a few times. Get your owner's manual. It's time for you to get your owner's manual, Keto. Okay? It's time for you to get your owner's manual. Okay, you guys? This is not easy to come up here and do this, right? But again, I don't have no gadgets. I am the gadget. Okay? I don't have no gadgets. I am the gadget. We ain't typing in no computers. We ain't pushing out no tarot cards. We ain't got no thing. Okay? It's me and you. Spirit versus science. Everybody tap the right side of the screen so we can get to 100K. Yes, I'm going to get mine. Yeah, do your thing, no edit. Chef Nova. So if you guys are just looking for a quick read, then give me your life path number, okay? Because a lot of you guys are not putting your full birthday up there. So I can't do it without the month, date, and year. So it'll be just easier just to push your life path number out if you're just looking for something quick to just get out and understand, okay? But again, the life path and the birthday, you need everything, okay? Remember, we do everything off of birthday, right? So I want to be able to get everything. So life path 6 is an air sign, okay? So that air sign, again, we don't know your birthday. So I don't know what the other deficiencies are. So I don't know if that's a yang excessive or a yang deficiency, okay? Because that's an air sign. I don't know if it's a yang excessive or yang deficiency, life path 6. But what life path 6s are very spiritual people, okay? You're a very spiritual person. You're very open-minded. What you want to do, though, as a polarity thing, is you need something to ground you, okay? Whether them be friends or family, you look for people that can help you ground, and also you can start to do more dancing, Jennifer. Do more dancing, and that'll help you ground. Life path 1, okay? This is the fire element, right? So this is your mental health. So life path 1s are very smart, very brilliant people, have a propensity of overthinking, and also they got a propensity of having a lot of nervous system and digestive system issues. So you want to be careful around that. But because you're fire, okay, you're fire, so you need water. So this is where we want you to be in an environment where you can feel comfortable with hugging, all right, feel comfortable with touch, massaging, comfortable with holding hands, comfortable with group settings, to get around people and stuff like that. Noetic nay. Okay, noetic nay. Now give me a birthday real quick. Let me show y'all some more stuff. Give me a birthday really quick. Matter of fact, I already got one right here. Keto. I do keto. I do you keto. 2173. Let's get you in there. 2173. This is my YouTuber. Okay. Keto, go tell somebody about your homie HerbMan now. All right. 2173. 2 and 1 is 3. 1973 is eventually going to be 17 plus 3, which is 20. And that's a 2. So 3 and 2 is going to be 5. So you're model number 5. Okay. So 121 to 221 is going to let me know that you are an Aquarius. That's an air, right? Every Aquarius at the sign of my voice alter ego is the Leo. Okay. So that's your fire, right? That 5 is also going to tell me that you are the earth element. Okay, so I have an air, fire, earth. Air and fire balances each other out. So right here we know that this is a yin deficiency. Okay, a yin deficiency. So we're looking at with yin deficiency, we're looking at the lower left side of the body. Okay, we're looking at the lower left side of your body. We also know that it could be due to some nutritional deficiency. So you want to make sure your diet is appropriate, right? So I already know off the rip you ain't eating good just because of where it's at. Okay, so nutritional deficiency is already letting me know. Now also because this is when you're looking at this from that standpoint, then now we can get your constitution. Well, what is the constitution? Okay, so air is hot and wet, fire is hot and dry, earth is cold and dry. So let's do the math. Wet and dry gonna cancel each other out. Hot and cold gonna cancel each other out. So what you left with is a H and a D. So this person is prone to hot and dry, which is the fire element. So you could be dealing with the fire instead of the earth. So this is how we kind of get able to understand your tendencies. Again, these are tendencies. We're not saying that you need to be dealing with any of this stuff, but we're able to get all the information on all of the capabilities that you're able to wander down into. And then once you're able to understand this, now you have an appropriate understanding of how to balance out your health. Okay, keto? All right. So now, with that being said, so now we understand, okay, well, what is the weather pattern? Okay, so now when I look at this, your weather pattern, your tendency is to be hot and dry. But I don't know what problem you got. So this is your tendencies to be hot and dry. Okay, your tendency is to be hot and dry. If you are dealing with an earth element issue, then you're actually dealing with this issue here on the left side, which is going to be more of a yin deficiency. So now once we understand what you're dealing with, even though we ain't got to, because when we calculate all of this, they're all going to be tendencies and they're all going to create a panacea for you, a herbal blend for you. So if you're dealing with the fire, the herbs are already there. If you're dealing with the earth, they're already there. If you're dealing with any other thing, they're already there because they're already in your tendencies based on your birthday. We don't have to do a lot of changing after we give you, after you get your owner's manual. There's not no changing that we got to do. A lot of people say, well, I got this, I got that. Do I need to change my appendix? Hell no, because we're not chasing diseases. That blend is for you who's born on that birthday. And for you, if you take those herbs, you can circumvent the issues that's going on. My herbs, those panacea blends doesn't cure anything. What they do is this. And this is far better than cure. And I got to write this down. Okay? That panacea blend is not to be curing anything. What it does is, so that means that it's not going to stop you from getting something. But what it does is it creates an environment. We know what we're doing, you guys. Okay? It creates an environment in which disease cannot live in. So when you get your thing, so it ain't about curing something, it's about creating an environment. Once we create the environment, your body will heal itself. You are the one that does the cures, not the herbs. But the herbs are going to create the environment in which disease cannot live in. Okay? So that's what the panacea blend is going to do. It's going to create an environment for disease cannot live in it. Okay? And if you guys got questions about all this stuff about the owner's manual and what it do and this, that, and the third, let me just show you real quick. Let's get y'all some receipts really quick, and then we'll get up out of here. We will get up out of here. 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 How much are the herb blends? The herb blends are $35. Okay. Normally 25 to 35 bucks is normally what they're going to run you. Okay. Normally 25 to 35 bucks is what they're going to run you. But you can't get no herbal blend without the owner's manual, because I wouldn't know what you need without your birthday. Can you break down how to figure out your life path number? Yes, just add up all your numbers. Okay. Add up all your birthday numbers. So 2, 1, 73. That's what this person's birthday is up here, right? 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. Okay? And then that's going to be a what? A 4 or something like that? 2 plus 1. Oh, I'm sorry. I ain't do the 1973 because I don't do it like this. I ain't do the 1973 because I don't do it like that, right? But that's how you got to do it, right? So if you want to do it elementary, I forgot I got to do it, y'all, like in elementary school. 1, 9, 7, 3. That's how you break down the life path number. I don't really do it like that, but yeah. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 plus 7 is 20. 20 plus is 23. 2 plus 3. So this will be 23. 2 plus 3 equals 5. I always get it down to the one digit. That's how you break down your model number. I don't use life path numbers. I use model numbers. So that's how we use our model numbers when we're looking at our owner's manual. Remember that an owner's manual comes with a manufacturing date and a model number. Okay. So now you got your hot and wet. You got your cold and dry. Okay. What her name is? Keto. You got that, right? So then when you look at here, you'll say you're in what we said, you're 121 to 221. So you're in Aquarius. Okay. You did about 20 days. So 6 years. You're currently was you currently about 52? So you're 52 years old. Now let's see where you at. 6, 16, 26, 36, 46. So you're 6 years in right here. So you're 52. So you're 6 years into Cancer. All right. So being 6 years into Cancer, you guys cannot call me and stuff on WhatsApp, okay? So being 6 years into Cancer, what you need to understand is that first of all, you're right down in the middle of some home and family issues and home and family concerns. So that's really your life lesson, okay? Is that Cancer. But remember also too that that's 6 years into the summer of life. Okay, 6 years into the summer of life, the summer is going to represent what? Remember that we talked about this. This is passion that got to meet what? Passion that has to meet what? Remember that I told y'all that? So that's how we can get you to understand what you should be doing in the season. Okay, now not movement. That was stability meeting movement. That was the earth and air. This is the fire and water. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Grace. You are getting it. Passion, meeting, peace. So now we already know what the summer is saying. Remember, this is the season. Okay. Then also we know that this is hot and wet. I mean hot and dry. So that's the climate that you in. Okay. Passion, meeting, peace. I'm also in Cancer. Also, you let me know that summer means what? Flourishing and all that type of stuff, skills and all that. You're in a prime time of your life. You're 52, but you're at a great time because you're in the summertime of life. Okay, but as you can see this, yes, you're coming down the mountain now. Okay, you got to the mountaintop, which means that you got all the stuff that you needed. Now you're doing pretty good. You're fairly well off, and now it's starting to come down the mountain, and you got to be prepared for that downward motion, just like you were prepared for that climb up. Okay, so now understanding that I'm in the summertime of life, I just don't know anything else about you, Keto, because I mean, other than that, because we got to get this over here. But we already said that you're in the hot and dry. Okay, we already know that you're a hot and wet tendency. Okay, so if you got a hot and wet tendency, let's say you ain't got no problem going on, you got a hot and wet tendency, and you're in the hot and dry time of life. What do you need to watch out for? These cancel each other out. So just don't get too hot. If you got something going on, then obviously I'm gonna consider that and be able to factor that in to what's going on. But if you're perfectly fine and you're just trying to stay preventative, because prevention is cheaper than the cure, then that's all we need to know that you have a susceptibility to run too hot during this time of your life. So we want to make sure that we're eating more cooling foods, especially in this time. Now, this time is 30 years. You just got in here 6 years, so you got 24 more years to go. So you won't get out of here till you're 74. So until 74, you got to watch this. You got to balance this temperature and fluid. If not, you're going to create a problem. If you already got a problem, then we'll factor that in. I'm just saying this is just what we do if you don't have no problem. We just get you right in the line with how to be balanced. Okay? 7 and an Aquarius. Apple Williams, what that 7 mean? That's your life path number. If you're a 7 and you're an Aquarius, that's even better for you to give me that, because we can do it like this, right? So if y'all do it like how they just did it, then I don't even need all of this to do that, okay? So if you tell me your zodiac and tell me your life path number, then we can do your weather pattern, right? So because if you're an Aquarius, that's an air sign, okay? Every Aquarius, at the sound of my voice, your alter ego is the Leo, okay? So then that's the fire, right? I don't know why I always do that. So that's the fire. Then he just told me your life path 7. So that automatically allows me to understand that the 7 is going to be the water. Okay? So that's this person. So now you got hot and wet, hot and dry, and cold and wet. Now let's do the math. Wet and dry, they cancel each other. Hot and cold cancel each other. This person has got a tendency of running hot and wet, which is also going to do what? Now I'm going to add this into it too. So now that we understand the hot and wet, we also now know that you can be a little choleric. Okay, a little assertive, right? Very assertive, Also, the flip side of this would be cold and dry. So you got that propensity as well. So that means that you can also be melancholic, meaning that you can like to work by yourself or to like just be alone sometimes. Okay. And then what else we got here? What else we got here? So choleric and melancholic are going to be primarily, primarily your leading manager or leadership skills, abilities, right? You either going to delegate it out, okay? You like to kind of get in control and tell people what to do and get the job done. You'll delegate the work out. You'll manage properly. You'll do that. I would hire you as a manager. So now I know if you got this, I know you got that managerial skill set. If I needed a manager, I would hire you, Apple Williams, okay? Just because you got this right here in you. But also there are times where you could be sociable, but there are times where you kind of like to withdraw and be to yourself, okay? You kind of like to withdraw and be to yourself. Also, that life path 7 is a water element. So that means that you're a very emotional person. That's also going to mean that you could be a very good friend to people. You're very sympathetic, very empathetic, and very good confidant. Can feel people's pain. And girl, homie, or whoever that was, Apple Williams, I would think that you're a girl. Keep on doing your thing, okay? Now, let us know how you thought about that. Apple Williams said, so true. I ain't even get to ask it. I ain't get to ask you that. So this is up you guys, okay? Just a little bit of what you're getting. Okay. We've been doing this for several years. If you go through all of our videos, man, we got so much information on all of this stuff. Okay. Apple Williams said that's perfect. Well, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. What herbs are best for me? Yeah, you gotta get your owner's manual to talk about herbs. Okay. There's too many herbs, Misha. So I don't come on here and ever do the herbs. All right. If you really want to go down into that wheelhouse for your little funky measly $50, get this information, but don't ask for it on the live like that. I ain't got enough time for that. I'm a massage therapist. Okay, that's what's up. Life path 8, a Capricorn 5. I like that better. Okay, Capricorn 5. Every Capricorn, right? So a Capricorn is the earth. Okay, every Capricorn alter ego is a Cancer. That's the water. Okay, what happens is here you're either going to be plagued by the thing that you know about yourself or by the thing that you don't know about yourself. But let's keep it moving. And then you say you're a 5, right? So the 5 also is going to represent the earth. Okay, so this is a earth, water, earth person. Okay, so now you already see cold and dry, cold and wet, cold and dry. All right, let's cancel them out. Dry and wet. But you got 3 colds and a dry. What y'all think you got going on? Yeah, arthritis than a motherfucker. Arthritis. Got arthritis going on like a motherfucker over there. Okay? Arthritis, bones, tissues, joints is your biggest thing. Okay? Bones, tissues, joints. Capricorn with the life path 5. And your digital auntie said, "Yep." Yeah, exactly. I can tell just from that. And what I'm saying is to you, who is doing this way, y'all? Who is doing this way? Twyla, Libra 8. Every Libra is an air sign, right? Every Libra at the sound of my voice, your alter ego is going to be a what? An Aries. That's the fire in you. Okay. And then that 8 is another fire. Okay. So now you look at this and you hot and wet, hot and dry, hot and dry. Okay. Wet and dry cancel each other out. Look at all of the H's and D's. So you automatically run hot and dry. Okay. So hot and dry again, when you look at this, that's the what? That's the choleric. Okay. But that hot and dry also means you have a propensity of doing what? If you're running hot and dry, then you can be dealing with a lot of blood issues, a lot of skin issues. Okay, a lot of blood issues, a lot of skin issues, um, digestive issues, all that type of stuff. So you got to be careful. How do you calculate this? That's wild. With your owner's manual by your birthday, we do everything. Okay, it gives you all your herbs, your foods, your nature-based interventions. It show you how long you need to sing, laugh, dance, all this stuff. Everything come with this, just like this person. HD is choleric, right? But then at the same time, we know that this is fire. Okay, that's a laugher. So we know that you like to laugh, Twyla. We know you like to laugh. But if you're dealing with this hot and dryness in you, if you actually are dealing with this, okay, because this is just your tendency. But if you are dealing with this, then obviously you're gonna need to do cold and wet. Cold and wet. That means you're gonna be a little bit more phlegmatic, and then that means you're also going to uh, need touch a little bit more. Phlegmatic. So choleric is person who likes to delegate, tell people what to do. Phlegmatic is a person that'll do it themselves. They lead by example, not by delegation. They lead by example. So phlegmatic, sometimes you go in between the two. Sometimes you need to know that it's okay to delegate, and then sometimes you need to know that it's okay for you to go do the job. But you need to know the difference between the two, because sometimes you could be trying to do some shit that you need to delegate. Now that's how you lose your job in some of these jobs nowadays. They want your ass to delegate. You ain't got to do no work. Tell folk what to do. And if you don't know how to do that and you keep doing all the work, they'll fire your ass. Nowadays they will. So you got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, when to tell folks to do stuff and when you should do it yourself. And that's your duality. And once you understand that, you can do all those types of things. Okay. All right. So Twyla said that's true. Yes. Life path 3, 6, 20. Yeah, y'all still doing it wrong. Virgo 11. I like that way. Cooking with Jesse. Okay. I like it that way. Virgo 11. Okay. Again, these are just temperatures. What's your weather pattern? Remember, I'm your meteorologist. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm meteorologist. Okay. So now you got a what? Now what was y'all know I be talking so much. Pin these things up here from Virgo 11. So Virgo is the earth. Every Virgo at the sound of my voice, your alter ego is a Pisces. Okay. That's the water. The 11 is also the water. Okay. So now you got here cold and dry. Here is cold and wet. Here is cold and wet, right? So these two can cancel each other out, and then you got a series of colds and wet. So you have a tendency running cold and wet, meaning that you got a tendency of building up a lot of mucus in your body. You got a tendency of this. So this cold and wet is going to be what? The water element, right? Or the winter. Okay. So then also that cold and wet is also going to mean wet. Remember that this water over here lets me know that you have a yin excessiveness, right? So this is yin excessive. Where is yin excessive? Upper right. Okay, the yin excessiveness is at the upper right. So if you are having any lymphatic issues or you are having any mucus issues, it could be happening in the upper right side of your body. Cooking with Jesse. Okay, cooking with Jessica. Those are your tendencies. Any other information, you guys, please DM us and we'll get you the information that you need. Okay. So this is how you understanding the weather patterns that are going on internally, as well as the weather patterns going on in our life. Obviously, if y'all give me your birthday, we take into account these seasons as well as the month, the year, and all that type of stuff. Which number is Scorpio? I don't know. I don't know which number is Scorpio. Maisha. Pay your little $50, Maisha. Stop trying to guess it, baby. Stop trying to guess it. Yeah, 11, 19, 80. So yeah, that's a Scorpio. So now you got to get your life path number. You add all those numbers up. Add 11 plus 19 plus 19 plus 80. And then you tell me Scorpio and your life path number. And then I may end up giving you, being able to do something for you, Maisha. Add them all up. Give me that information. Boom. Love your session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Any other questions? What we got down here on YouTube land? Yes, hot and dry skin issues. Yeah, summertime season down the mountain. Yes, flaxseed oil seems to help hot flashes. I don't get into all of that, keto. Model number 6, Aries. Okay, Monica. Left Peace, Aquarius 1, February 961. Yeah, y'all got a lot of stuff going on. Cancer 3. Yeah, so a Cancer, again, a water sign. The alter ego is going to be a Capricorn, that's your earth. And then the 3 is going to be a fire. So you are earth, water, and fire. But the fire is the one that is becoming the what they call yang deficiency. A yang deficiency meaning that you can have problems in the upper left quadrant of your body. So the upper left side of your body, you can be having problems. And because there's a fire element, maybe some kind of nervous system issue, maybe some kind of circulatory issue, heart issue, um, maybe your left eye, okay, is worse off than your other right eye, right? So all of this stuff is what happens with a Cancer 3. Tiger. All right. But at the end of the day, when you're dealing with that type of stuff as a Cancer 3, because I just did that Capricorn, right? So water, earth, fire. Cold and wet, cold and dry, hot and dry. Wet and dry cancel each other out. One of the colds and the hots cancel each other out. So you're left with cold and dry. So that's the tendency. Okay. Now you could be dealing with a cold and dry tendency. You can be dealing with a hot and dry tendency because you got all three of these. So there's all three different ways that these things can produce the environment within you. We just need to understand which one, and we'll be able to give you the polarity recipe for anything that you're dealing with. And that's what you get with your Honest Man for that measly funky $50. Okay. All right. Issues in the upper left is yang deficiency. Yes, upper left. D Jules. Yep. All right. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any other questions? So now you understand these weather patterns that are going on within you guys. Hopefully, you guys will take this information, add it to your Rolodex of understanding your health. Okay. Again, we're not coming on here trying to shoot the jive with you, trying to shoot you no bullshit. We are teachers of health. I'm not a person that's selling a whole bunch of products, but we sell a program, an educational program on yourself, about yourself, all with just your birthday. Okay. If you guys are interested, I've came on here for month in and month out. You guys can go to my YouTube page. Please go subscribe. Get all of the videos every time we go live. We're recording everything now. I've been doing this for the last 7-8 years, you guys. This is the most fascinating and the most awesome thing that you can ever do. That this is your opportunity to get yourself back into balance with yourself and nature. Okay, this is just not about you getting in balance with nature, but also you getting back into balance with yourself. Okay, you need to know your tendencies. You need to know yourself a little better, know how you operate, and then know how to just manage yourself better. It's not about elimination, it's about management. When we'll get you to manage your waste disposal system better, if I can get you to manage this and that better, then you don't need to eliminate anything. You need to add on the ability to manage properly. Okay. And if you can add on the ability to manage properly, then you don't need to eliminate anything because you'll understand that moderation is the key to management and balance is the key to health. I love you guys, man. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Please go tell somebody about your homie HerbMan. And until next time, love HerbMan. Again, guys, if you are interested in the owner's manual, please DM us and we'll get you the information that you need. Peace. Yes, sir.